All right, Wayne Bettis here, the founder of the Off the Tools podcast. I just want to introduce you to our brand new sponsor, directplumbing.supplies.com. It is founded by a former tradesman who has set up his own plumbing and heating merchants. He has an online shop, which is obviously at directplumbing.supplies.com, and he delivers across the UK. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the show.
You are now listening to Off the Tools with the one and only Wayne Bettis.
If you're passionate and driven and focused in what you do, people will take notice. You can achieve anything you want to achieve in life.
The excuses are not valid.
Welcome to this next episode of Off the Tools. Off the Tools was created to give support, guidance, and coaching to tradespeople across the UK. We are dedicated to elevating people across the 3 Bs, which are body, business, and balance. Please, if you have found value in any of our previous content, please share it. Please invite people to listen and watch and get involved. We want to reach as many people as possible. Today, I have a fantastic guest who was recently on. He's now a friend of mine, Etan Bazil. We put together this podcast reactionary, really. We saw some things going on that we're going to dive into shortly. And we felt that we wanted to address it for starters. So we want to talk about our views and our understanding of that situation. And most importantly, we've collaborated to offer some support to a specific group of people that may be needing it right now. So let me just say hello to Etan. Etan, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, mate. It's good to be here again. It's always lovely to be here and have a quick chat with you, especially on a topic like this.
Yes. So I'm gonna dive straight in. You may have already guessed what it's going to be about from the title, but there's been a lot of stuff happening with British Gas. So as anyone will be aware, British Gas are the leaders in the plumbing and heating sector in the UK. They employ thousands and thousands of people, and my understanding of it is there's a process called fire and rehire, which again, my understanding is that basically they present you with a new contract, and if you don't accept it, you get fired. The idea is that then they rehire on the new contract, forcing you to accept it. Is that the same understanding you've got?
Yeah, that's what it definitely looks like is happening. And especially, obviously, there's been a lot of coverage about it, and even more astoundingly, like they are being completely open with it. There's no kind of trying to fly under the radar. They are firing. It looks like from an outside point of view, and this is obviously just an opinion, but it looks like they're firing their gas engineers and then rehiring them on a less sweet deal. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on the reasoning behind this.
Yeah, so I've sort of, when I first heard about this, I sort of probably didn't do enough research into what it meant. And I sort of defended British Gas in a way that really they're an old company, maybe set up in a manner that isn't the best for the 21st century that we're living in now, with the internet, buying boilers on demand, and the rise of competitors and things like that. So I sort of sympathized with them that they need change basically to survive. And at that time, I didn't support it, but I just sort of thought, well, okay, it's just business, and it won't come to what could have happened or what has happened now, because I think over 500 people nearly have now been forced out of work.
Yep.
And the more research I did into it was no, this is wrong. How is this allowed to happen in the UK, for starters? We're not some third world dictator country. We have contracts, we have employment law, which obviously I'm not an expert in. So I cannot understand how this can happen. What's the point of an employment contract if they can just sack you, and either you sacked with no redundancy, or you accept the new terms on the new contract? Does it not make a mockery of the entire employment setup of this country?
You're absolutely right, and that's the question, because the thing is, all right, here's a really out there example, but let's look at trials, and let's look at legal proceedings, right? So usually what happens is, if someone is trying to bring a case against someone, they will use a previous case. It's called a precedent, and they'll use that to basically decide whether it's okay to proceed down this route. And they use the previous example. Now, what British Gas, what it looks like they've essentially done here is, I don't know how it's legal. Like, firstly, just from that point of view, it obviously is. If it wasn't, then it wouldn't be happening. Like, that's just, there's no question about that. But is this going to encourage other people to follow suit in the same industry or across all industries, because it's such a public thing that's happening? Is this going to become the norm? And so even outside of the reasons behind it, what's it then going to do to employees all over the country in different industries?
It sets such a dangerous precedent, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because there's always been talk of the gig economy, hasn't there? About how it's unfair and it's not right for that way of doing it. You've got high profile cases with Pimlico and Uber and all of these types of people that are there to protect the worker, so to speak. And so for this to be allowed to happen, it effectively has basically said you can do what you want.
Yeah, I could just fire all my employees tomorrow and then just say to them, you can come back to work for me, but you have to basically, play my tune.
It's sort of like gazumping someone on a house, isn't it? Like you've agreed a deal, you've accepted that deal, and right at the last minute you want to take some money off the table. And like you say, let's forget our industry. The implications that a worldwide company, because it's owned by Centrica, which is, I think they're a French company, I believe. They've obviously got their businesses across the world.
Yeah.
What does this say? It's just like if Tesco's could do this, then, for example,
Tesco's
right? Do you know what? We're going to drop everyone's salary by £2 an hour, like it or lump it. That is what this is effectively doing, isn't it?
You're setting a precedent. So if this is obviously legal, then it means that anyone can basically do the same, as long as their employment contracts allow. And I guess there's something in those contracts that say they can be renegotiated at any point. There must be. It's a strange thing to happen. I mean, obviously, there's different points of view on why it's happening. The first, obviously, is a direct response to the COVID pandemic. They obviously have lost a lot of money and are trying to cut costs. But I, and this is purely my belief. Again, I have no kind of data to back this up. But what it feels like to me is that there's being a cull, and then that's exactly what I call it, where you have. They're basically trying to cut off all of the fat off the operation, and the best way to get rid of the people that are on higher salaries and are probably the company might be carrying them very slightly, and they're approaching retirement and so on and so forth. This is a great way for them to cull the herd, so to speak, and to lean up. Rather than outright letting people go, because if you let people go, you have to offer them package. There's implications that come with that. Whereas if someone voluntarily leaves your organization, well, there you go. Like, there's no, that's the end of it, right?
That's certainly what it would look like they're doing, isn't it? They're cutting the fat. And the problem is the people that are getting affected are generally people that have had a loyalty and a career within a structured organization mentality. Yeah, they've been there a long time. They've sort of embedded themselves in that structure, and for them, loyal people to then be like just elbowed out the way like this, it just I'm still shocked once I understood what fire rehire was, and I'm just worried if basically anyone that's in what they call a secure job right now, this is saying no, you're not.
Yeah, and this is supposed to be a national, like it's like a national. It's like British Telecom, right? It's like a national standard. We got British Gas, we got British BT, and we look to these companies to show us the way in terms of how to behave on a as an employer, and as a company, and it's not. I mean, from my point of view, this is not the greatest lesson to give the future employees of today to how they treat their staff, and across my business, Elite, I'm very, very big on staff. Like I care about my team, and I try and make them as happy as possible, and in return you get that loyalty and you get that back from them. But if you're going to treat a member of staff like a commodity, purely a commodity, well then that's what they're going to give you, right, in return.
Yeah, definitely. And I've just had this thought, right, for the people that have accepted it, right? Because obviously, if you've got a mortgage, if you've got kids, you might not be in a position that you can take that gamble of not accepting it. What sort of work environment is it going to be like now? Is this not just like a virus? These people that are now accepted this, and they're going to be
miserable,
rightly so.
Right?
They're going to be pissed off, man, and that's not going to bode well, is it? And negativity spreads so fast with any group, even if a group of friends, in a small scale. If there's something negative happening, it spreads around the group, and if you implant a lot of negativity across an organization, that, in my honest opinion, I think that they must be a struggling organization to be doing this to their team. Will British Gas be here in 5 years, 10 years?
To be honest, and let's look even further. Let's look at the instant consequences. So because of the strikes and everything that's happened, British Gas have now been subcontracting out their work to local engineers. And local engineers, because of what's been done, have just been ripping the arse out of it, right? And double charging, like, absolutely. Yeah. Why wouldn't you? So that respect is completely gone. Now, if you're growing up and someone says to you, what would you want to be? And you say, well, I want to be a gas engineer. Are you going to say, you should go with British Gas? Like, son, it's a good company to get with. It's a lifetime job. This could potentially harm them irreparably going forward. Like it could really mess things up for them. But I mean, you've got to assume that someone somewhere knows exactly what they're doing, because it's a bold move, Wayne. Do you know what I mean? To do something like this.
For me, I think it's the beginning of the end. Personally, I think the competitive landscape that is now out there. There's a lot of smaller enterprises, like people like ourselves that are owning our territories a little bit more. We're attracting clients that maybe 10, 15 years ago would never have gone anywhere other than British Gas. And so I think they've been hemorrhaging. Again, no data to back this up, but I think I've scanned their profits and their accounts, and they're not on the upward scale. The numbers look big, but for an organization of that size, they're not impressive numbers. And so they've been hemorrhaging customers, I believe. And now I all I can see is their staff turnaround is just going to be phenomenally high, which never bodes well. So for me, my sort of crystal ball is that it will be sold off. It will be chunked up in the future, sold, asset stripped, and effectively Centrica, the main company, I believe they are only interested in the supply of gas and electric and renewables and stuff like that. I don't feel that. I feel that they don't want to fight for or if they want it, I don't think they're going to be able to fight for their top spot anymore. And yeah.
Here's a really scary, if you want something really to keep you up at night, all right, I'm just literally, as we've been talking, it's just popped into my head. Now, if they did do that and they decided to sell off the installation and breakdown and servicing side of their business, who do you think would be the first contender for that? Who would really want to buy that? And I think there's a very big company out there, an online company that sells boilers direct and uses a subcontractor network at the moment that would love to have an installer network the size of, and break down the size of BG. And then what have you got?
Even scarier than that, right? I'm guessing you're referring to Box there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even scarier than that, right? Imagine an Amazon or a Google decide to take it over and totally sort of transform that. Like they've been wanting to get in the trades game for they're doing it in America. They've been wanting to come to the UK. And that was clear through some conversations I've had with people that have owned and sold businesses for nearly triple million businesses. And they've been approached. So imagine if British Gas ever was on the table. There's some big sharks coming this way, I believe. And
who's protecting these like these engineers? Who's protecting them? Who's protecting our? Well,
surely they're part of a union at British Gas, but it doesn't seem like they've done anything. Or if they have, it certainly hasn't slowed the process or halted anything. You'd presume that an organisation of British Gas would be heavily sort of unionised. I don't know. Yeah. Do you know if they are?
I don't know. I know someone that works at British Gas, or that works at British Gas. Maybe I will ask him later because it's an interesting question. But even outside of British Gas, like what's, as an industry, right? Who's protecting it? There doesn't seem to be any sort of, it seems to be like it's just being plundered. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's going to be plundered and all the value is trying to be sucked out of it. And, you're just going to end up literally almost like just fitting boilers. That's all you'll be able to do. And then when your body's knackered and you're done and you just get thrown on the scrap heap kind of thing. And it's an awful, my old man started off in British Gas. And so did the guy that trained him, and it was a badge, right? It was a badge of honor.
Oh gosh, it was the gold medal Blue Peter badge, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely the Blue Peter badge. But now what? It's a really shaky time, I think, at the moment. There's a lot of stuff going down that's really going to change the landscape over the next couple of years, definitely.
So I want to shift this a little bit. As my listeners will know, I try to always look on the positives and find the lessons and try and spin the situation around rather than focus on the negative, which obviously we needed to address because there were a lot. So the big takeaway, I suppose, for those that have left or that want to leave is starting a business now in this industry with the support networks, with the infrastructure for small business is a lot easier. Yeah. You go back 20 years, it was very difficult. It was very difficult with regards to there weren't the internet. You couldn't generate work on demand. It was a lot of a slower process. So the positives, I suppose, are that those that want it, there is that opportunity now for them to sort of stand up. They've got the technical experience and they can go out and make some waves on their own. And that's really why we're doing this show right now, is because we've decided that so myself, obviously I run a boiler installation business and I also am a business coach. And Etan is, I could go on forever here, but Etan has a very successful plumbing and heating business. He has a tech startup. He has franchising opportunities. He's involved in so much. So we had a very quick chat and decided, right, okay, we could slag British Gas off. We could moan about it, blah, blah, blah. I ain't going to change it. It's happened, right? People have woken up today with no job. and scared of the future. So we decided, right, what can we do to positively impact those specific people? Obviously, with Off the Tools, we're doing this day to day anyway with helping the community that we're involved with. But this is a direct call to these people affected by this coal, so to speak, where we're going to put on a business boot camp. Obviously, with everything that's going on, it's going to be virtual. So it's very easy to attend. It's going to be completely free. And what it's been born very quickly. So we haven't got a full strategy in place, but in essence, it's going to be between 1 and 3 hours, I would say, in its duration. And the plan is that between me and Etan, with our experience, our expertise, and our sort of trials and errors that we both have, that we want to create the boot camp to be able to give people the confidence that 2 days ago were employed, PAYE, used to holiday pay, used to that big company structure. We want to take them from that position to a position where they can start to build their own business.
Yeah, and
am I right?
think, yeah, absolutely. And I think that if anyone's got any, specific areas that they'd like to get covered, then that's what it's all about, right? So if there are any people out there that are found themselves in that position today, and they've woken up and they are literally, starting afresh kind of thing, and what's their biggest fear? What's their biggest pain point? And what are they scared of? And we can build something that will help. Yeah. And just give a little bit of help, really.
Yeah, I put together a very rough template, of what I sort of took myself back to that day that I jacked in my job, and sort of thought, well, what do I wish I had known or had some sort of input in? And for me, it all starts with, what do you actually legally have to do to start up a business? What's the difference between sole trader, self-employed, partnerships, all of that side of things, business banking, where to VAT, all of that side of the very fundamentals of business will be the first thing we address. Let's pick out the myths, give some facts, and give people the knowledge that, but for us, it's simple because we're seasoned. For somebody that hasn't ever done this, it's probably their biggest mountain right now. Just thinking about, well, what do I do? What do I call myself? What do I put out there into the public domain of what I'm doing? Then obviously people need to think about generating work. So we're going to address things like online marketing, traditional marketing, sales. Again, if you've worked for British Gas, you probably already know a bit about sales. It seems to be quite a high topic at British Gas, but we'll go over, because as a small business, the selling side of things is a bit different to sort of like a corporate structure selling. Yeah. So we'd address that from a small business perspective. Finance, how to manage your money, how setting up a business account, how to raise invoices, how to keep track of your receipts, all of the money side of things. Yeah. And then move on to sort of things like bigger marketing. So it might be websites, pay-per-lead, pay-per-click type thing. And ultimately how to ensure, because you've got to have happy customers. So how to create a journey for that customer that means that you're going to get repeat work from them. You're going to get referrals, and my aim, and I'm sure it's your aim too, Etan, is by the end of the boot camp, we want people to have enough understanding. They're not going to be experts, but they'll have enough fundamental knowledge to take that first step. And most often, that a journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. And that is always the scariest. And once you start taking 1 step, 2 step, 3 steps, the momentum starts to build, you get a bit of confidence. And I'm pretty certain that for the majority of the people that will start this journey, they will look back in a year's time and realize that it was actually a blessing, because there's so much opportunity out there for good, honest, reliable people that can do a good job, that can serve their customers. And you can create a nice balanced lifestyle where you're not working, you're not working 24/7 all of the time, and you've got more money in your pocket, more flexibility around your day rather than it being like set in stone. I just want to do the boot camp now. Do you know? I love it. I want to get started. We've already had a fair few sign up to it, so we're gonna finalize things over the weekend. Hopefully, this picks up some traction and it gets to the people that we want to hear about it. Because yes, we could be doing this for any startup, and to be honest, going forward, I've got coaching programs and Etan's involved in stuff where this is there is bigger opportunities, but specifically right now, the pain is for the British Gas guys and girls.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
that's who we're trying to impact right now.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. As soon as you said it, I was definitely on board with it. I never forget that day. I got bought a diary at Christmas. All right, because I was starting my business in January, and I had nothing. I had no idea, and I borrowed a little bit of money, and I had my diary, and I looked in it, and I had one job the whole of January, and I remember just absolutely shitting myself and thinking, how am I going to live? What am I going to do? And if someone could just said to me, right, it's okay, just do this, just do that, just do this, just do that, and you'll be all right. And just take a bit of the fear away, really. That's what it's all about. And just
and you imagine, Etan, you took the decision to do that.
Yeah.
These guys and girls, it's like 10x that, isn't it? Because they've been pushed and ushered into this position. So I really don't want these people to be worried. That's why I'm so desperate to get this message out to people, because it will help. It will be probably, I'd say 2 to 3 hours seems like the length of time. 2 to 3 hours investment of time, because we're not charging any money at all.
No,
there'll be no upsell. We're not trying to make any money off of this. This is purely us giving back to the industry that has given us so much, I suppose, is probably the best way to summarize it, isn't it?
Basically, yeah. It's obviously we've both been pretty lucky, but also not just luck.
Wait, don't use the word luck, son.
Surrounding yourself with the right people, surrounding yourself with the right information, and making the right choices, and that's what it's all about. Just from this point, making the right choices. So yeah, I'm well excited, mate. I'm super on board. So yeah, let's just do it and get it. Let's get
Excellent.
it done.
So I don't often beg on my podcast, right? I sort of just let it be. I've never really been bothered about the amount of people that see it. Obviously, the more the better, but I've never really pushed for likes and shares and things like that. I just let things happen organically. But in this case, I am gonna actually ask you, right? I give a lot to running the communities that I run and supporting as many people as I can. And I'm asking for a little bit of help, to be honest. I just want, if you could just share it on your page, if you could share it in the comment section of some posts, maybe that are flying around about this situation right now, it will help, because unless people know it's there, they're not going to take us up on it. So we need it to get out. I'm hoping I've sent it to a few newspapers. You never know. They might pick up on the story, which if they do, then I'm hoping we will get the numbers that are out there to see it. Whether they do or not, we don't know. But
I'm going to try a contact at LBC that I have, and just to see. You never know. Like, at the end of the day, it's a call to arms. Like, everyone, let's get together. Let's add a bit of value. And just help some people, and that's what it's all about. Because
that's what you've got to remember. They're people, yeah. So they're not British Gas. They're just a man or a lady that had a secure job with everything they thought that was secure, and now they haven't. Yeah. And with everything else that has gone on this last year and a half, whatever it is now. It's just a final blow. Mate. It's a savage blow. That's the word I was looking for, definitely. So if we can help just a small portion of them, it will be amazing. So please share. That's the last time I'm going to beg. All right. So I'll leave the asking for help there at that point. But also from another point of view, I suppose when we do the boot camp, I guess we could probably, depending on the numbers, have a few people that are maybe not directly British Gas, or they could watch it. We might be able to pull it together as like a video for other people in the future. So it could help you just as much as it is directly aimed at the British Gas people right now. There's no reason as to why we couldn't just put it together as a complete video for the future, just to help anybody across the country that wants to start up their business.
That's a great idea, Wayne. It really is. I think we're onto to a good thing. But when it's done, I think it could be reused and rewatched, and hopefully it will help people. And that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, definitely. And if you are listening to this and you are one of the people affected, obviously the links are all going to be surrounding the in the descriptions and stuff. Just sign up. We'll be in touch over the next sort of 3 to 4 days, I guess, while we try and work out how we're gonna bring this to fruition. And obviously invite anyone else. You must have colleagues that have been affected as well. So that would be really, really good to get as many people on. And if there are any media outlets that are listening, I'm not sure if they will, or if they see this, reach out to me or Etan. We'll be happy to give a statement about what we're trying to do to help these people. Anything else to say, Etan?
No, mate, it's always a pleasure. Love meeting up with you for a chat. Only time I get to hang out with you is on video, so yeah, I'm well up for it.
I know, I can't wait. Well, I'm moving. I'm going to be 5 minutes from you in like a week's time. So, and thankfully, there's a gym, right? Anytime Fitness. Shout out to them boys. Right between us, but there's also a McDonald's right between us. So it will determine the course of the meeting to which venue we decide to go to, won't it?
It's almost like one of them thought about it. Like one of
Yin and yang.
Angel and demon, yeah.
Well, lovely. I'm going to wrap that up. It's a nice, short, sweet episode. We've been very clear about our intentions, very clear about what our thoughts have been and our understandings. And yeah, keep an eye out. Me and Etan have got loads going on into the future as well. And we're going to be doing another episode with Etan. Hopefully the next one will be in person if the restrictions and stuff allow us, because it's a lot better when you're in the same room. You really bounce off each other. So I will... Hey, adios, I suppose.
Yep.
Adios.
I'll see you soon, Wayne. Look forward to it.
See you later, guys.
All right, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I really hope you enjoyed the show. I just wanted to put it out there for anyone listening that I offer business coaching, but also life coaching. My life is centered around something called the 3 Bs, which stands for body, business, and balance. When you work with me as a coach, we tackle all 3 aspects of life. So you as an individual, body, mindset, health, fitness, knowledge, education. Business B obviously stands for your business, improving, maximizing opportunities, elevating, making more money. And balance stands for your friends, family, loved ones, making time for everything in your life. And the 3 Bs is the core element to that. If you'd like to learn more, I would ask you to reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you might be consuming my information. Or you can email me directly at wayne@offthetools.co.uk. I'm here waiting to assist you to elevate across all aspects of life. Have a good one. No excuses. Let's go.